Welcome to Vaseline Stew, Tactical Tuesday, take 2, baby. This is the second half. We found out what the Americans were exposed to from the Germans counterattacking his position, getting units off the board and winning the game, or attempting to win the game in the best way, or in one of a better ways for the Germans can win. Can he do other things? Yes, he can. I invite you to set it up and try other avenues of approach to get even more points off as the Germans. That's the challenge. Here we're taking the Americans' viewpoint. How can the Americans, based on the same plan of trying to get troops behind him and stealing those victory point locations away from the Germans, what do we need to do to maximize our chance of trying to win the game? We're going with plan A. Again, we're going to adjust it just a little bit. See how the small details of where you're moving, what you're moving, when you're moving, and also, as pointing out right in the beginning of this video, the speaker will talk about knowing your opponent, knowing their tendencies, things like this. This is the last turn of a 6-turn game. If you don't know your opponent's tendencies by then, you need to pay attention. You honestly need to pay more attention. You need to know what he likes to do. If you know that, you give him what he wants. All right? Let's take that to the bank and at the beginning of the scenario. Thanks for watching.
Knowing my opponent, he doesn't tend to, he tends to think in Death Stars. So he's going to fire everything in that hex at me.
Oh, right, right.
So knowing my opponent, I know that's what he's going to do. Okay. So part of this is obviously taking advantage of what your opponent's going to do. So, but you know, generally it may not be a good strategy. I mean, but the point is I knew that. So at least he drew this, and sure enough, he blasted him and broke him.
Right.
And then, as we said, then this guy here swooped around to here, met the same fate. But now, as we said, but now you know, both of these guys have first fired. This guy is now safe to move down here. But now, as we said, my next plan was now that both these guys have first fired, both this and this guy's first fired, this guy is now safe to move back here. He's got nobody to fire on him at all.
Right.
Okay. But my subsequent plan is, all right, so let's assume this guy is now here, okay, and he's going to advance here. So he makes it here, but technically he's CX, which might make a difference.
But did you move him there initially?
No, I did not.
Okay. So let's put him back here just for a second. So again, trying to jump into close combat, you'll have maybe, you know he's going to Death Star you. And
right.
Did he Death Star you with Q6 first?
Yes, he did. Yep, that's exactly what he did.
Okay.
Yep.
Again, take a look at that chart. What's that chart? What type of chart are you looking at?
Oh, you're looking at 16 minus 2. You're looking at depth.
Because your assault moved.
Well, 16 minus 1, but still, I mean, that's still pretty nasty roll.
Right. So what does he need to kill you? Straight up kill you.
He needs a 4 to straight up kill me.
Right. Next -2, right? You're in the open. -1 leader.
Well, it was assault move, so it's -1.
Yeah, but -1 leader on top of that.
Not here.
What do you mean? So he fired the 8-0 first.
Yeah, no, he fired. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're looking at 16 down 2.
Yeah, -2. So he would need to roll a 5. Outright.
A 5, and that guy vaporizes.
Right.
If your thoughts were okay, if you failed that move there.
Yeah.
If you failed to smoke there, what? And you know you're gonna suck because you know your opponent. You know you're gonna suck down. The 337's already here, right?
Yes. Yep,
okay.
337 there. So as I say, so I know my opponent will Death Star. So the idea is to let him blast away. Hopefully, as you said, those 2 units survive. Okay.
Right.
And they can route back to here.
Right. But
then with the leader, then once you move the 8-1 leader, you know, which is I think here, Yeah, no, he's here. You can move the 8-1 leader in here, and have at least a chance to rally one of them in the next rally phase.
Okay.
Even yeah. So that was kind of my initial plan. It was getting kind of late, as I said.
Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. So
I took advantage of what I knew my opponent was going to do, but the question is right now is, I suppose now is a good point of, as the American, let's assume it's just right now. You failed the smoke. What would you do now?
Okay.
As the American.
First of all, the first thing you do is you have to maintain your objective. What is your objective? Do we need to kill any of these Germans? If you go here, what is very likely going to happen to that unit? Does he have a good chance of getting into close combat if that's what you wanted to do?
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay, so for all intents and purposes, a move here takes this unit out of the equation of victory, because he then can't control anything else. And to be honest with you, since the Germans have the second move, because we had all those broken units initially, right, that were here and they moved over here.
Right. Yeah.
If they don't rally, the Germans simply assaults moves a 238 here. These guys have to rout, and then he recaptures one of your buildings.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we have to consider. Is him going forward. He doesn't need to necessarily have to move out, because if you vacate, so therefore, since you need 2 buildings, at a minimum 2 buildings, and that he has, you know, a decent number of units that he could try to get off, right? He could just simply move off like we described in the last scenario. So what you need to do is, like what Peter said, is try to stop him from going off as best you can. How can we do that? We need to get objectives and set us up at the same time. So therefore, we need to preserve our force as best we can. Does that mean the 9-2 gets down here? Maybe. That might still occur, because again, you have other units here.
You still have to take one more building. You got to take a building somewhere.
Right. And you know he likes the Death Star, but so he's first fired up here. So his secondary shot's going to be a 2-2 at anybody that's moving in his range, right?
Well, I mean, right now this guy, right? So at this moment, let's assume this is where we are, like literally right now, and this guy has declared his move. And he said he tried to throw smoke, and no, he didn't.
Oh, did he final fire?
This guy up here, yes. This guy.
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes it much easier. That makes it. Yeah, that makes it much. That's right. There, that makes it much easier. Okay. So in that case, take a look at knowing what your opponent likes to do, and this has been very important. Is if because you've played the whole games, would it be safer, even with no smoke? Even with no smoke, you could possibly do the same maneuver, but you might die. You might die right here. I mean, a 5 is like a 20 something. Anyway, let's say you smoke. You try to smoke, and then you move. And let's say you move here, because you want to occupy this building, because your plan on that failed smoke is to get this guy down here, right? So someone needs to occupy this building for free. So let's say he shoots you again. Right, because you said he likes to do that.
Right. But now, as you said, now it's 8-2 as opposed to 16-2.
Right. So your chances of surviving are just straight up on the K. 8-2, a 5 for K. We don't care about the K. He needs to roll a 4, so it gives us a much better chance of surviving. Even if we roll a K, we're not broken. We need to roll a morale check. Yep. So even if he Ks this unit, we don't really care, because the situation reverses. Even if he has squads and he goes here, now he's got 6-2 or 6-1 when these guys are jumping out to try and get your building, if he's happy to get that. So let's assume he Ks us, all right? And this guy's first fired. This guy's saving his firepower for other guys to move. You've got him, and him to do 2 things. Get buildings and stop him from reacting to your move, from getting off. If you move one guy here, this guy's free to move, right? Let's say you move another unit. He fired on him too, right? He prep fired. So
no, no, right. Remember, it's the American turn, so he didn't prep fire.
No, I'm
So
sorry. He destroyed this unit here, right? He broke that unit.
Right. That was what happened in our game. But as you said, right now, instead of moving in here, you decided to move him down here.
So yeah.
I first fired and vaporized.
Yeah, he's gonna take the shot. Like you say, most likely he's gonna take a shot. Let's move this other guy here. And this is just an example. We try our smoke, and let's say he fires. Yeah, we're getting there, Pete. We're getting there, Pete. Let's say he fires. So he first fires, because that's what you want to do. You want to first fire him, and he's going to do that because he can fire here, and then he can fire here because you're coming right at him, right?
Yeah.
He thinks. I mean, if anything, if you want to come at him, I would go there, and pick up the damn LMG, and boom. I'm at least I'm on the well. The 747 is going to be on the 8 chart anyway because he has assault fire. So that's another thing you have to consider. If I don't have assault fire, I pick up the damn LMG. Are you going to take a residual? Yeah. But, you know, whatever. If you're 8 morale, you can do that. Bait the fire, and he's going to fire. Your opponent's going to fire because you expect him to do that. Okay, he breaks.
Yeah.
Okay, he breaks. This guy's CR'd, or even if he breaks, it doesn't really matter too much. Now we got him. Now he CXs. We're not going to win, per se, but now we got to where we want to be. He CXs. He simply goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's say he just moves 6, or hell, he can go up there. Let's say, because you want to cover that shot over there, he can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least you'll get a shot on him going off.
Yeah,
that's going to be 6 even shot. At least you get a shot. Can he get to these buildings in the back? I don't know. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. This is the pain in the ass. 4, 5, 6. Can he get there? Yeah.
Well, you can advance in, yeah.
Subsequent first fire from this unit here. Do we want to take that? Yeah, I think we could take that. That's going to be, what, a 4 shot? That's a 4 shot. That's not a bad shot. Not a bad shot. And then what that does is a number of things. So we move there. This unit here moves. We can see hex him as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 8 over here, and we let's see, can you get there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you moved them right. Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Because we want to maximize our buildings, so we can then advance him here because he's CX'd. We don't necessarily want to advance him up. Remember, if he takes the offensive route, this guy's pinned and he's stuck. We got stuck, right? Mm-hmm. So he's got 2 buildings, and then you could slide this guy into here. I honestly might not even want to slide him there. I might want to slide him here. But again, we're running into a problem. And at this point, what are we at? We're up 1, right?
Yeah. So now you're up 1 building because you've taken 2, so you're at 7 right now. Right, and that unit advanced there. This is actually pretty tough for the Americans. You know, tell me why. Oh my goodness. Let's go defensive. Let's go residual, and let's say the 9-2 stays right there because he needs to protect our investments back here. This guy's gonna rally. Yeah. This guy will likely better damn rally, and this unit is. Yeah, he didn't last time. Yeah. This unit's going to come back to him, but you know it's not guaranteed. If he doesn't rally, we're screwed. So the 9-2 can do another thing. If these guys are frozen in fire, let's say this guy subsequent fires on us over here, so he's finaled, right? Right. Well, yeah, he's finaled. So yeah, the object is. And this guy, he got fired, so he's first fired. Oh, it doesn't really matter at this point. So he finaled again. Don't move him second. What can we do with the 9-2? Well, this was my other thought is he can, instead of moving into O10, he could possibly move into N6. N6 is very tight. I'm going to fire on you. If I'm German, with 8 morale, point blank, against this bad boy. Okay, so you'd take the final protective fire at that point? No. Yes, I would, all the time. And guess what? You could take the 2-3-8 final protective fire here with the 3, and then the 5-4-8 over here. So you don't, I mean, or, because if you break one, you got one there, and now you've got a second shot here. You want to split that up. But what can we do with the 9-2 in this situation to A,
get objectives, and B, protect the ones we have. Remember, this guy's a runt right here, and these guys are going to route back here. That's not guaranteed that they're going to route or rally. Pretty damn good chance, but that's not guaranteed. We're broken. Assume they're going to remain broken. Okay? Assume these guys are out, and we got this guy and this guy protecting the juices that are up here. Again, this guy could be a major pain in the ass also. So let's say you want to stick with your O10 plan. We CX this guy. 1, he can't fire on us. Even this guy can't fire on us. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, okay. So you just say just take the building and then set them up in position. Okay.
Right. And this, you might want to stay right here. You might want to stay right here or here. 1, it does 2 things. If you put them back in the building, you can't fire over here, right? Yeah, we got these guys, but you never. If you put him here, if he fires on you, well, first of all, we got 9 morale. Essentially, for all intents and purposes, the second unit has 9 morale. You know.
Right. And of course, if he fires at us, he's not moving. So.
Right. So and then we could actually move. What I would do is I would move the 337 either in the building or up here. The problem is, and this guy here, the 337 here, can also do some protective services as well. I might want to move the 337 here because you're not going to do any damage to stone buildings, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I would move the 337 here, again, last turn of the game, and the reason why I would move this 337 up here, right? You know, he's got a bunch of guys right here. First of all, where's the Germans sitting right now? Let's say this is the end of the American player turn. This is theoretical, of course, because you gotta. That's actually pretty good because he's final fired, and these guys, you know, he will first fire. And we took our broken unit and we routed him back here, right? So that's very likely going to happen. And your 337 was here in the game, so we know that happened. And so this guy is screwed. Again, we sacrificed with 1 unit we thought he's going to break. Again, you fire here and then you get to fire again because you're going to maximize your shots. Now, and defensive fire. Okay, rally phase comes. Let's get rid of the moves. I hate the moves. Hell, for that matter, 337 doesn't move here. Where's he move? You tell me where the 3. Well, actually, yeah. You tell me where the 337 can move. A better place for the 337. To either
a better place for advancing, we're saying.
Yeah. We're gonna advance. He moved there. He took his K2 check.
It took his pain. Yeah. He took one for Uncle Sam.
Right.
And I mean, he can attempt to just advance into R6 and try to grab the machine gun.
R6, grab the machine gun. What's that do for us? Does our firepower change?
No, but it gives us a chance. Well, no. Actually, it doesn't really do anything because I don't think we can't get rate of fire because it's a captured weapon.
No, you do get rate of fire. The rate of fire still applies. The breakdown is the only thing.
Rate of fire goes down by 1, doesn't it?
For ordnance weapons, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, not for machine guns.
SK might be different, you know.
No.
But let's say the rate of fire does go down. What does that give us? That gives us 2 things in this situation. Instead of being here or here, what does that give us? What does that give us? 1. If he's gonna fire on us, he's not. That'd be fewer guys. So what does he need? We have 1, 2, 3, right? Clone. Oh, I don't want to clone him. Oh, we'll just delete these guys, right? So we've got one. Let's see, how many buildings we have? 1, 2, 3. Let's clone these guys back here. Clone. Oh, come on. Oh, great. All those guys are going to be screwed up now. All right. Yep. Yeah, I knew he'd be gone. So, oh my goodness. He's gone. They're both CX. All right.
Why wouldn't you move that half squad that was in 5 instead of moving them to N5? Yes, I know it takes a building, but if exit is also the freak.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Q5. You jump in close combat.
No, I'm talking the N5 guy.
N5. This guy?
Yeah, oh, so you've got him as a 747. He was a half squad originally. Y5.
No, he's CX from the backside, Pete.
This guy.
Yeah, he's CX from the backside.
Oh, okay.
The 337 is right here. That's the one we're covering right now. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, for me, the 747 is actually better off in the street.
This guy?
Yeah.
No, he has to advance in the building to capture it.
Yeah, but if but you've already you only needed one more building, right?
No, but if he exits, we're trying to get the extra buildings.
Okay. If he
Right.
exits,
Right.
what I'm saying is that by putting him in N4, because there's no bypass movement in SK, he doesn't. It denies him an easy one movement vector movement path, because you can't move through a unit. It's a blocking. He then becomes a block.
Right, but
And not only that.
You're looking at right. So in other words, this
But-
would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I mean, in theory, you can still get 8.
Right.
You can still go to X and get off the board.
but we don't have
But the
N5. N5 is not in our control at that point.
Yeah, I know. So it's what I'm saying is with exit, and the other thing is by moving him there, he can now stop that hex at full firepower.
Over here?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to assume this guy's going to get off anyway.
Well, he may not. That's the thing. You've just given yourself an option.
Well, and unless of course he just goes straight out this way, then now you're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then you're at half power there.
Yeah, it gives him a little bit better range. You could absolutely do that.
There.
Technically, the leader back here can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, he can see. He needs a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
N5 does not have it probably doesn't have a line of sight to this hex, P0.
I can tell you that right now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's a clear line of sight.
It is
Clear.
from N5.
Clears the bell.
Wow. Okay.
Clears the bell.
Okay.
But that's only because I know how to string the LOS. I know how it's going to look like. But he could do something like this. He's going to But one, it gives us another building. You could do that and do the blocking. Absolutely, that is a dead distinct thing you can do, especially in SK. But in this building here, it also gives us a shot on this side, and it still gives us a 4 range or a long range over here. It still kind of covers this road here, and this guy kind of you're covering the road. So what that forces the Germans to do is to attack you.
Yeah.
And so, and it gives us another VP hex, and we can defend over here. So my thoughts on the 337 over here is if you move adjacent here versus here, let's say he's going to go for R7, and he assault moves a guy here, and now he can assault move in 2 different hexes, right? And then try to get there both at all. So and if you move this guy here, and this is kind of like what Pete was suggesting, and you pick up the LMG. You now block 1 hex, and again, when he assault moves, what does that do what does that do to the 337? What does that allow him to do? How much does his firepower change from this location here?
Oh, well, instead of okay. So it's still, it's still 6.
No. Over here it was 2 down 1. Here it's 6 down 1.
Yeah. Okay. Right. 6,
So
6
that's essentially a 2-column shift for 1 shot. And if he breaks him, let's say he preps him and breaks him, right? So what? Now he's blocking the area and does exactly as Pete suggests. Now he stops him from over here. The 9-2, they're not recovering 0-10. They might, and this guy, let's just say this guy routes here for whatever reason, because he might be able to do something stupid like this. And the reason why I like to pick him up here with with the LMG is to stop 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 8, some sort of 6, 7, well 6, 7, and then get one of these hexes over here. This person could technically get one of these. Does he need it? No, because he can get off. So that's a wash. If he could get 2, that's a big threat. But again, if you put this unit here, and let's say he doesn't fire, and he does that same sort of thing, where he's going to do what you did, and instead of going backwards, he simply. And at 337, instead of moving up here, I forgot this was a building. You go in there 100% of the time.
Oh yeah.
100%. That's a 3-to-1. That's a freebie. That is a freebie. I think yeah.
Just getting back to that 337 taking the LMG.
Yeah.
The big thing is the range.
Yes, again, the range. If he wants to go up here, you could fire first. Yeah, you could fire.
Not only that,
yeah.
He can see Q1.
Yeah, exactly. Exit hex. So if he goes here instead of here, you get that 2-2.
He may even have a shot. He actually even has a shot.
Yeah, he's got both shots. Right.
Yeah.
This one's he's going to be hindered, but he's got that shot.
It's a triple threat.
Yeah.
It's a triple threat.
Okay.
Just from being here to going here, and you say, "Oh, I don't want to threaten my guy." Oh, Jesus, I don't want to lose my guy.
It's a four-pronged effect.
Right.
A threat.
Okay.
Range. Denial of exit hexes.
For free.
For free. Denial of a advance hex.
Right.
To threaten the building.
Right.
Increased range is the third one. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's the and the fourth one is he has to fire at him.
Right.
He has to in order to fulfill the exit hex conditions or move, he has to actually allocate firepower assets in prep.
Right. Let's do the close combat on the 337 because that would have been last turn's move. Right. Close combat, ambush. I'll roll my 5 or 6 for the Germans. You do the Americans.
Yep. All right. Since I was the Americans, I'll take it.
Oh my God! So there you go. There you go. You're just kicking the shit out of this guy, kicking him while he's down. Okay.
Is Paris stealthy?
No,
I don't think so. But it's a 5 difference, so I don't even know where my chart is. Where's my stupid chart?
And boom, he's gone.
Yeah, and you can advance and seize another building.
Well, you can't start it.
You can't start a kit. So he's dead.
Yep.
So he's dead.
So ambush, you don't advance as well.
It's in close combat. Yeah.
You just get right. You lose simultaneous and you get sequential. So if you take him out, that's it. Close combat.
Okay.
So at that point, again, we moved the leader over here because this was a valid move because we know what he does. We know we take advantage of our opponent. We got down there and we got back into position to defend our R7. He can't get O10. There's no reason to stay here.
Okay, that's actually a good point. Yeah, I hadn't really thought through from that perspective, but you are right about that. That would probably, being there would have vastly increased the chances of me being able to. Yeah.
The only reason to stay here. Now, in your situation, you had a couple guys here that you rallied one of them. The only reason to stay here is to do as Pete suggests. You've got coverage over here.
Right.
Okay.
But you get that from 06.
We have coverage here.
Or 08.
Right. That's blocked, but this guy's got that coverage. And so
if I thought about moving him there.
Yeah. So that's why we could pop up over here. And guess what? Guess what happened in our melee? Now we've got these hexes covered, and he can't even move through here.
Yeah. And he can't even move through there, and he's got another building.
Right. So he's got to recover how many now? We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 victory locations. He has to drop it down to 5, right?
Yeah. Good luck.
So he has to get 4 multi-man counters off, or recover buildings of just as we suggest. 4. Yeah. He's going to take a shot here. That's going to be a 2-down-2 from just about any direction. Most likely from here because this guy needs to cover here. That's going to be a 2-down-1.
So they're going to be 2-down-1. Yeah,
so that's going to be a 2-down. This guy was assault moved, and he kind of moved like over here, and he got blasted. So it's going to be 2-down-1. So he first fires. We don't care about that because guess what? They're still adjacent. So if he goes up here, does some sort of bullshit like he wants to go up here, you still get to fire on him again. And guess what this unit's going to do forever and ever? He final fires. Guess what he's going to do when another unit moves? that he can. Let's say it moves adjacent.
Right, at the end of the game, you might as well just keep firing.
He's firing until he dies. He's firing until he dies, and then when he breaks, he becomes a block.
Yep.
Okay, but we need to fire him forever. He fires until he dies.
Yep.
And even then, he serves a purpose.
Yep.
Okay. So if he tries something like this, let's see, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and just advances. Let's see, this guy's good off the board. That's 2. He needs 2 more, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's go with a. He does still have.
The 337 and P5 would fire at him when he moves through O5, Q5, anyway, just to lay down residual.
Yeah, he'll blast him here, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he'll first fire, and that'll be 2 residual there. So the demo charge here, most likely. Oh my God! I selected one guy. Most likely the German's going to ignore this guy here. He's going to move here, and probably try and blow him there. But we've got a unit here. Do we care? Do we care necessarily to fire initially on that demo charge tack? Because is this guy going to do anything? Again, let's say we lose this one over here. He gets over here. He gets off the board. 2. He needs 2 more. So what's he need? He needs this one, and he needs this one. It's unlikely that he's going to get this one because he's got a shitload of units. He's got a shitload of units. He's going to get blasted here. We all know he's going to get blasted here. He's going to break. That's a simple fact. He's just going to break. If not, he's lucky as hell. And then he has the option of moving these units over here. I'm not sure that's his best option because he has to move. If he's going to demo charge you here, he has to move a multi-man counter to take the building at the end of the turn. And if that's the case, then he's doing something like this. He's got a 2-to-1 CC over here, which isn't guaranteed. Assuming he does, it's just not guaranteed. And he's got a demo charge over here that's likely to break you, but he needs this unit over here. But at that point, guess what? He's taking a, depending on how he moves. Again, this is where it's important to move the proper people first. If he moves all his multi-man counters in there, at that point, you blast the multi-man counter. If he moves there, and you know this guy broke over here or something like that, then you just count up, okay, what's he got left? He's got, well, nothing there. The 548 broke over here. He's got 1 548 here. He might be able to take 1. So what literally can he take? He's got 2 off. He needs 2 more. Let's say there's 1 there. What's the other one he's going to take? That's what you have to look at as a defender. What's the only other thing that he can do if he wants to jump this guy in close combat? And if your opponent's aggressive, a lot of times they'll just do that instead of just moving this guy the hell off the board. Because this is guaranteed, right? Well, not necessarily, because you got to fire. That's why you lay down residual. If he goes 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he's off. That's a guarantee. This is not a guarantee. So in that case, going in close combat is probably a lesser chance than him just simply passing a morale check that this guy's going to do. But if he moves off, yeah, at this point he has to come back. He has to come back and attack you with both of his units. And if you throw the demo charge, you've got all this firepower blasting right here. And the 337, first of all, I'd fire the 337 subsequent because he's unlikely to fire anybody I know of. But this 548 either goes off here, or he can go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and goes off there. So that unit's off, one way there, because this unit came from a stack, and he took that building. Whether he takes that building and goes off is equivalent. So as long as he can't take 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, because you're already occupying here. And by virtue of these units being here, let's say these units weren't there and they were here. How does that change the situation? He counter exhausts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because guess what you would have to do? Route. Now he gets 2. Yeah. By virtue of you staying here and being here, he can't get 2 with a non-leader CX unit. And what do you do when he tries bullshit like that? Guess what happens? 9-1's gonna blast the living shit out of him.
Yeah.
And that's again makes this 337 far more valuable there because he's gonna be taking the first shot, not the 9-2. He's gonna take the first shot so he can take the end around that the leader's gonna try and do. But this, as a situation you have here, there's a lot of things the Germans can do, but he has to take 4 back instead of the 2 that we had in the previous situation. because one went off the board, and then the other one went off the board, and then the other one we could possibly retake, because that guy has to not break in our example, remember?
Yeah.
And that's why laying residual, even actually, sometimes actually laying residual when the leader with the DC moves in.
Yes, sometimes even that's
06.
valuable. Yeah, the +3 buildings are
Because-
rough, but it gives us free. But how
Yeah,
much
yeah,
residual
but
you're
the
laying?
thing
You're
is-
laying down a lot.
Yeah, but the thing is, he moves into the building, and then it's a separate movement factor expenditure to place the DC.
That's right. That's what we covered before. He gets a free shot on another free shot, and then subsequent for his fire, he gets another shot. So he gets 3 shots for that, and that's what we got to take. But do you see how the perspective changes on this, Mark?
Yeah.
Just simply by we had the almost exact same perspective down there. The 9-2 instead of being down here, we recover back here because we knew it was safe because he already first fired. We bring him back. He's not getting 0-10.
Right.
Again, if the plan was to cover here, no problem. I'm on board with that. But bring him back here because we had 2 broken units that didn't guarantee survival. All they had to do is move a 2-3-8 here. Those guys move, and he takes back a point. That's very valuable. So he doesn't have to do anything over there. Is he going to get shot by the 7 by this guy over here? Likely. But he's got 4 units to move, and you only had 1 unit back here that he has to deal with, and we covered that extensively, of course. But taking the exact same situation, of course you've got to dice it out. That's that. But again, in this same example, what's happened with the demo charge? Same thing. The same thing happens. The demo charge still has to go off. But how is that different from the turn before? One, the Americans likely is going to blast you with a bunch of firepower and leave a shitload of residual firepower there. You know, and then your units are going to have to move into it to get to them. Free shots.
Right. But as I said, the nice thing is, as you said, is just the fact that the German has to move. He just to a certain extent, he just can't kind of just stay where he is and jump you. He has to come to you.
Right.
And and that might just.
Yeah, so it doesn't make it hard on the Germans. I'm not sure that you could define it as hard. Does it make it a lot more difficult than before? I think so.
Close combat's not really an option because the fact is that the Americans are 7 strength.
Yeah, 7 strength is really essentially you have to throw 2 squads in there, and that's a 1-to-1. And if you roll Jesus. And even if you roll a 5, guess what? He's still there. It's casual reduction. So him banking on a 4, he doesn't want to do that. The 4
you can't bank on 4s. You can only bank. You should only, if you're looking at what your options are.
Right. So
count as 5 as the lowest you'll roll.
So if the German wants to engage in close combat and he's kind of quote banking on a 4, right? He's getting 1 location out of his 4. Let's say he CX these guys this way and takes a couple 2-2 shots, right? And he gets 1 morale check. Well, he's banking on a 6 there. 2 of them. He's got 2 chances to bank on a 6, and only one of these guys has to go off to be the equivalent of retaining that building. So instead of jumping in close combat with 2 units, you want to move 2 guys off. Because this is free. This is guaranteed. As soon as you pass your morale checks and he's first fired, you're out of 4 range, they're off. And again, that's the value of that LMG. Is
every minus modifier you have to put up with it while you're moving, your morale drops by 1.
Right, and so that's the beauty of this move here. Is he subject to heavy fire here? Sure, absolutely. That's what they call point blank fire. But this guy's a man, and the value of him being here, like Pete said, is 4 times the value of the Germans firing here. Actually, it's probably even more than that. I'd say 6, simply because if the German fires, he can't move. If he fires and wants to engage this guy in close combat, I'm on board with that. Oh, he should only fire here if he wants these guys to move off.
Yeah, it doesn't get him anywhere. Yeah.
And then he wants to close combat here, because therefore that's 1, 2 of his points. Now this guy's got to take, and then there's 3 from this guy. That's 3. That leaves this guy here taking a 20 shot. He can still assault move. 20 shot up 2 or 3, still pretty good. Then he's got to throw the demo, and then if the demo doesn't work, still +3 there, and then he can jump in close combat. So he's got 2 close combats.
Just 3.
which yeah, if the American ambushes or in either one of those, that's a good advantage. That really can the German win it? Oh yeah, absolutely, the German can win it. But you're trying to minimize. And are there better positions for the Americans? Yeah, there's likely better positions, but just for what we're going on with what we wanted to get to, if I could get to M4 instead, like this guy was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If he could possibly get to M4, that might be a slightly safer position. So at that point, the demo charge guy can assault move. He has to go 2, 4, and then drop this, and now he's non-assault moving.
Right.
So theoretically, this will do what Pete does. It'll give him the extra range, and that's definitely a damn LOS there. And he's got this one clear, and he's got the entire board clear there. And
are you sharing your screen?
I'm not sharing the screen. We're in Vassal.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And so at that point, that actually might be good. I hadn't even thought about that. Is just get away from the Germans. For him to get you there, guess what? He's got to go open ground.
And he's still got a house. He's still got one in the house.
That's right. You still got a house. You could possibly lose it here. So what? This is.
Well, you never had it. At that point, you never had it. So
Right. But the American back here is further away. The demo charge can't assault, move, and drop on you. The demo charge has to move.
Right.
And that nullifies your CX that you took to get back there. So you get that extra -1 essentially.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes it better for you. And that's a 12 up 3. Not terrible. It's a 6. And if you, again, 12 up 3, that's just him moving. Then you subsequent first fire. And then when he throws a demo charge in, any of those gets pins, the demo charge doesn't get dropped. Any of those pins, the demo charge stays in hex, and guess what? Your survival just skyrocketed.
Shot up tremendous. Yeah.
Because if you do that, then what I like is putting the 9-2 in the squad rather than in the street. Put them in 06, 08 rather.
Can't. The wheat fields are impassable. These are like lakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It actually makes it a really interesting scenario because I love that scenario special rule because it really.
Okay. So, right. Yeah. So, of course.
Yeah. Sorry, Pete. Sorry, Pete. But yeah, these are like lakes or rivers.
Okay.
And so it makes them actually when you put like the water on it, it makes it look really cool. It really gets you even more nervous as the Americans because you see that you can't move there. It's really kind of.
I just wonder. Well, from personal. Okay, Purple Heart Lane. Yeah, Karen. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
I swear that there will be. I reckon this scenario would actually work in ASL. I really do.
Yeah. Well, ASL's even more because now you got fire lanes against the Americans. Now you're really screwed.
Yeah, fire lanes also. You've got bypass movement.
Yeah. But you see there, Mark, just seeing how this little move, even though we failed with the smoke, we still have extreme value with this unit. Extreme value because you still planned this. Like, okay, he didn't do that. Now I got to go get 010. We dealt with the guys in the middle. This was successful, and we got him back here. And then this guy, because the LMG was still sitting there, I deleted it in the last game. This guy actually has value in putting pressure right up in his face, especially if this guy likes to blast people at high charts. He may just take that. He may take a 16 down 1 on you. At that point, he's only got 2 units to move.
Yeah. I'd take that every time.
Oh yeah, and then if you break, so what? So what you break? You're stopping his moving.
Don't forget, knowledge of your opponent is valid in real life. It's very valid in ASL. The meta game of baiting your opponent into playing his usual game.
Right.
He's predictable.
Yep.
You're inside his OODA loop.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so I mean, and as I said, as I said, initially, as I said, when I got to turn 6, it was pretty late, and I just, I just kind of misfired, and as I said, eventually I got nuked because, as I said, this shot up here, I set myself up and I thought I had a clear line of sight, and I didn't. He just got off the board, and that was the end of it. Right. So, so it ended up being a very kind of non-climactic sort of thing, whereas opposed to what we're talking about down here, this would be like lots of, turn 6, last roll close combat sorts of things, which would certainly get the adrenaline going.
Right.
before you have to go to
It gives
bed,
you.
but,
It gives you. Yeah, exactly. It gives you. It gives you.
Sometimes it's an option is let that guy just wander off, because now you can dedicate your defensive fire to creating residual walls of residual.
Right.
Right. But as we said, the whole setup was, unfortunately, was the idea about maximizing the number of buildings you could take. In other words, do the hard flank, take those buildings back there, and leave yourself, instead of trying, like, even as I initially thought, kind of leave yourself pressed forward, as you two have kind of worked out, stay back. You know, as you said, now you're forcing the German to have to really move to come to you.
Right.
And he still has to come to you in order to have a chance to win, in order to get a chance to win the game at that point.
Right.
And as you said, right, you're either crossing streets, you're crossing into open streets, or taking a number of firepots. Yeah, I mean, as an American, sure, you're not going to be guaranteed of winning at this point, but you're certainly going to be, you're certainly going to make the German work for it at this point.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. And remember, at the beginning of especially at the beginning of every turn in the game, even every player turn, always focus on the victory conditions. You're not here to kill them all, right? You're here to get 6.
Yep.
If you maximize your chances to get 6, even if you lose all your units, if they all break, it doesn't matter. Again, this guy being here instead of like some people do when they break, they go 2, 4, 6.
Yeah.
Well, how did that change the situation for us when this guy can move later, right? We showed that the 2-3-8 can actually get both of them. If he's here, he only gets 1. At that point, just move off the board. But if you give him an opportunity to get 6, he'll take it.
Yeah.
So even broken units above all, especially in SK, because broken units survive about 6 times longer than they do in ASL.
Yep.
Right? I mean, broken units actually, to be honest with you, are more valuable than almost the same value as a regular unit, simply because they stay around so damn long, and they block movements.
And they block.
Yeah.
And they block movement.
And they're block movement.
No bypass.
Yeah. And you can just low crawl away.
Bypass.
You can just low crawl forever.
Yeah. Roads, open ground, and particularly roads, and even orchard hexes become incredibly vital.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. It's really, really huge. But again,
forcing people to move through to movement, or even with Wheatfield, forcing them to move through anything in excess of 1 movement fact.
Right.
Is a huge slowing down effect.
Slows down, right? Really slows down.
Yeah.
Slows down an assault. Yeah, in that respect. Yeah.
So, but take a look at this. I've got it on. I'm streaming on Twitch. You can download the video on Twitch if you wanted to kind of review what we were looking at. I have to download it because I think when I was doing the sound check, I didn't start recording, so I'll have to download it to get the first part of our discussion. But and then, just like I say, taking both discussions as a whole, is we took the discussion as the Germans want to shoot first and ask questions later, and that seemed to work okay for the Germans. Okay, I mean, it seemed okay. Now, the second one was the Germans move, and we kind of determined that was almost equivalent, because you're guaranteed to move, but you give the Americans, the smoke and the whole 9 yards, and essentially his effective firepower is pretty much the same. There's might be slight different variations there. And then we looked at how the Americans, taking your approach slightly differently, but yet still sticking with the theme of, I'm trying to drop smoke. Okay, I didn't drop smoke. Now what can I do? And the biggest thing is to, even though you knew he likes to take the point blank shots, is this guy in the middle, his survivability rate at the 16-3 is very low. But if you move him here, he still is going to take the shot, most likely anyway. If he does it, good. Now you have a squad there, and then we could deal with that. But again, what we're saying is, if your opponent is just itching, because if he loves stacking, he's wanting those giant shots. He wants someone to die when he rolls some dice, and he'll take that shot. And then the rest of the scenario that we pulled out rolls out exactly the same, because you moved your 3-3-7 there. We didn't have to hypothesize that. That was the actual game situation. You got him to where he needed to be, and Actually, in the other situation, would have been a little bit differently. You'll probably have to look at that. Is I ignored P5 for the 337. To be honest, the 337 would have advanced here, and your guys here would have been here. But again, he could demo charge and do like this, so it's going to slightly change negatively against the Germans because he'll have to take out P5 as well.
Right.
So definitely reflect on that. I forgot about the 337 here, and that's the 3-1's pretty good in close combat. Even if he locks him into close combat, doesn't matter. You're still most likely going to kill him at the end of the turn. He still has to move a multi-man counter in there.
Right. Yeah, to make sure that.
So, but just kind of look through that. So, okay, since Stu forgot this, now how does that really change the situation of, actually you have on your log, how does that change the situation to where the Germans, it would actually reduce the number of Germans opportunities he has there, simply because now you have 2 victory locations instead of the 1. So again, your move wasn't bad. It got you where you did what you wanted to do, and therefore you succeeded. That's the takeaway. You did what you wanted to do, and you succeeded. Now you got to say, okay, I did what I want to do, and I succeeded. How can I get some ice cream on that? How can I get a little bit of whipped cream and a little bit of cherry on top of that? It succeeds. How can I get one more? Remember, if that one squad, when I started talking about the DM right here, if you got that one squad, that one more squad up, for some reason that these guys pinned.
Yeah, then you've got one more unit that's blocking.
Right.
Getting the product.
You've got one more unit that can take another shot, throw another smoke grenade, anything. One unit is all you actually honestly need. Or let's say this guy rallies here, just the leader, wounded leader. We're gonna keep the wound on this guy, and then we'll cut it at that. Let's say he rallies. He's wounded. He's got 3 moon factors. Where's he gonna go? You tell me where he's gonna go.
Well, but remember, but by the time he rallied, that would be Axe's turn 6, so he wouldn't be able to move anywhere. He'd be where he was.
No. We so he was already broken. Okay, yeah. Right back good. Yeah.
But he was broken.
Yeah.
Rally at the beginning
But theoretically, you do him the same thing as a 337.
Yeah.
You're block. Yeah. You move him here at that point.
At right. You just
block him. You just put a wall of bodies there.
Yeah. Either pile up the bodies, or as you said, or at least take them.
Right, and you'll see that in some of your games where if you have this DM, it's not going to happen. You got rid of it, it's going to happen more often. Yeah. Give you guys the best chance to get back up and rallying. The one over here, the one for the building, nah. The +1's really not that big of a difference, especially if you have to move in the other direction.
You got a 58. I mean, if the DM's gone, then you got a 58% chance of bringing him up myself.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like a 50-50. But again, just like I said, just consider those. Again, that's probably like the second or third tier thinking about doing your strategy. It's like I got these guys, and because he breaks in either his defensive fire or your movement phase or something. Well, I don't know when the guy broke, but he broke a long time ago. For all intents and purposes. You said you low crawled him there. So he could have broken the Germans' prep fire phase or whatever, and so he was broken for a while. And you low crawled, which is good. It kept you alive. 8 morale, you could probably still go backwards anyway. But regardless, you low crawled. But also note that if I low crawl, if I could get back there safely, maybe I do want to low crawl just to stay up further in the front. Maybe I could bait a shot out with his giant stacks that he likes to do. Maybe he wants to kill that guy because he's already half dead, wounded. You never know with these guys. But again, there's those other things that we kind of looked at. But it was a really good situation. And again, what we talked about, not the only solutions. I invite you to completely go bonkers on the end game and do something completely crazy as the Americans. Maybe throw the 9-2 up there and look at the charts with the base 7 rolls. Can he take an 8 down 3 if the unit in P6 fires on him as he tries to run by?
Right. I mean,
it's rough.
Yeah,
it's rough.
That's getting a little, maybe just a little too risky, because you said like an 8-3 is is a KIA on a 5.
Right.
And now that's an awfully big risk to take.
Right. His
You know,
chances of passing morale check are high, so if you want to do that,
Yeah, but a KIA gets rid of a morale check. There is no morale
right?
check.
But but yeah, exactly. But if the KA is high, or if you go to bait him anyway, that's theoretically he goes 1, 2. Well, of course he may subsequent first fire here 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 advance. He alone can capture 3. Long shot, yes, long shot.
Yeah.
But he alone can capture 3, and he still gets to cover L4. So that means these guys must come back. One guy at least has to come back there.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
again,
especially the guy in U3, comes down, and so he's like somewhere back in here. He's in N5, or let's say he's in N5.
Yeah.
Now you've got, as you say. I mean, I like, as I said, I generally like your idea about, not quite being in the German space, but just really outflank him and just be in his rear,
right,
and make him come to you in order to win at that point. And if he gets the good dice rolls, then fine. Then, but at least he had to work hard for it, and he had to kind of think through the implications of it.
Right.
And so as I said, yeah, I mean, so it's actually kind of turned out to be a pretty interesting sort of, one of the more interesting kind of tactical end game sort of puzzles that I've kind of run into in the last few games that I've had.
And this is a tough game too. It's because the Germans are tough, and it's hard to root them out of the building.
Yeah.
It's just hard to root them out. But remember, your objective as the Americans is not to necessarily. It's really not necessarily to even confront the Germans. You want as many buildings as possible, buildings as possible, and then it's up to him again to come at you. He's got to take that point blank shot.
Well, I mean, as we said, the advantage of 6 is that the American at some point does have to break into this area. He can't win the game by staying back here.
No, it's instant loss. He's got to go. He's got to cross. He's got to cross that middle ground.
He's got to cross this street at the very least. Okay, he's got to cross. He's got to cross this, because even this doesn't give him everything. That ends up giving him, I think, 5. So he's got to get somewhere. He's either got to try to take like these outer 2 buildings, and go for the flanks, and try to take these 2 and try to hold the German from escaping from this little center area here.
Right.
That's a possibility if you were thinking about the long-term sort of strategy of the scenario. But at some point, you either have to do that, or, as you said, at some point you've got to break in here somewhere.
Right.
But I liked your idea about kind of outflanking him and kind of ending up back here.
Right.
At the end of turn 6.
Yeah, but that's based on your sound strategy of baiting those shots, because you knew your opponent. He was going to fire at you, and again, I would challenge you to. Do you have a regular opponent that you usually play with?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Did he watch you play this game? Let me ask you that.
Oh no, this was the guy who was playing. Yes, the guy who I played against. He's kind of my regular opponent.
Okay. So. Do you have another guy? What I would love to see you do.
No, at this point, no, not really. So,
okay.
I mean, but I'll have to kind of start trolling. Well, I'm one of the reasons why I picked this particular scenario is I actually signed up for the Human Wave.
Oh yeah. Very good.
Your game's going to improve. Your game is going to improve out of sight.
Yeah. So this was one of the scenarios, and I've actually never played this scenario before. So,
yes.
So right now we're just going through like all the scenarios that I haven't played. At least I've played them once, so at least I know what the what the situations are. So.
Okay, I have to ask you. I was watching the game. So, did you move your 9-2 up to Z1 at the beginning of the game? Was that your guys' game? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't watch the game at all, but what I would suggest to you is to get another guy that plays SK, because you're going to be dealing with SK players. Set up turn 6 for you play the Germans.
Yep.
Or you play the Americans, whatever, or you could switch with them, because essentially you're playing one turn. Switch sides. You play the Americans, and then you do your see how he reacts, and then you switch sides to play the Germans, and then because that would take like 40 minutes, you get more situations that you may not have come up in our discussion here, our extensive discussion. Right. And since you have to play through the whole game, you're playing in the end game where it matters. And you could try the 9-2 down the road. You could bait the shot out somewhere else, and you could try the 9-2 down the road and see what happens, you know? And what you might want to do is, if at that point, you might want to bait one shot out and then send the 9-2 second instead of last, because if he first fires and subsequent fires, then final protectives, right? And let's say he rolls some shitty roll, then if you have another unit, then you could possibly get next to him and force him to rout. Again, 1,000 different ways to try and do this end game here. I invite you to play a couple more, just at the last turn, just the setup that you had at the last turn, and to see what you can do. Maybe charge the guy at P1, right? Because if you kill the guy at P1, what does that do? It, for all intents and purposes, that gives you 2 victory points because he's not getting off.
He's not getting off,
and you get the building.
Yep.
So that's another option. You could charge that son of a bitch, and you could jump into close combat. I mean, that would be an excellent choice to try and jump up, and you're going to cover his retreat anyway.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, because you have the -2 leader. So you have to take the +1 for CX, but you got a -2 leader with you. So there's lots of little things that you could try to do, and because you're going to have 2 close combat phases, assuming you get into close combat with some of these guys, and that might be another thing. Jump a guy in close combat. Most likely he's not going to kill you, and then your little half squad, protects that one building. But that's a good deal. Thanks for watching Tactical Tuesday with the Vaseline with Stu. We had a great group of guys tonight. Lots of mind-bending ideas about squad leader and just trying to get things done. Trying to take a different perspective on, okay, I did this and I got with this. Now if I do this with a little bit of that, will I get the same thing? That's what we're looking at. We're looking at that little bit. That little bit is what we're looking at. Most of the games are fine. Everything's going fine, but that one little thing, 7-0, one little thing makes all the difference. Save your logs. Join us next Tuesday, probably about the same time, 5:30 Pacific Daylight Time. We'll get it going again. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you later. Comment, dislike, like, subscribe. You know the drill. Thanks for watching. Vaseline with Stu.